Everybody, Andy here again. This is one of those videos I've been thinking of making for a long time. Not for any specific reason, but because I've been involved in doing something and I just never got round to making a video prior to the event because I was busy and doing other things. You know, real life gets in the way sometimes, doesn't it? Annoyingly. But now I'm making it after the event. Some of you may know, if you've seen me on Facebook or Twitter or something like that, I've been involved with an event called Sundae here in Hastings, and it's a charity event for a local hospice, and the idea was to raise money for them. And we held the event yesterday, so I'll sort of talk about that in a minute. But the whole idea of this came about in March of this year, so that shows you how long we're in June now. So we're getting about 3 months worth of time that this has been going on, and I've been involved with things before that arranging different events and things like that, but nothing possibly on this type of scale. And I think that's what surprised me, because sitting down talking to Pete, the guy who sort of we got the idea through, the two of us, we were sitting down one day talking about this particular hospice. There'd been something in the news about it locally, about it not doing too well, needing some money, like lots of other places do as well. And we just felt that something needed to be done. We wanted to support it in some ways. We do support it in our own little ways anyway. I think I might have mentioned it in videos in the past. But we thought we could do something a bit more tangible. Now, Pete's the guy who's the main man behind the event called Beatles Day. A guy who I've known for a number of years. I actually met him running the London Marathon, would you believe, in 1990. So that showed me, we were reminiscing about this the other day, but I'm going to go down that route. And that's how we met, running around the London Marathon course. We went together on the coaches. As I said, anyway, go. Leave that to one side, Andy. We were talking, so we just decided that we can't do this event. Now, Pete had done an event like this quite some time ago, but on a very, very small scale, very low-key thing in like a local bar or something. And he said he'd quite like to do that again. So we said, yeah, great. And we were sitting down, brainstorming as you do, and trying to think up, sort of coming together of minds, because we have very similar ideas, sort of the ethos of what we wanted to do, and we both agree on that. And my views on what he's done with Beatles Day and the way that should develop are very, very similar as well, which is one reason why I've got more and more involved in that over the years, although I'm not a committee member or anything like that, not to that involvement level. So we were talking about this, throwing his ideas about what we wanted to do, how we wanted to see the event progress, and what we wanted to portray and what we wanted to do. Obviously, it was going to be something that was pretty similar to what Beatles Day is like. And if anybody's seen the Beatles Day videos that I've put up over the last 2 or 3 years, you'll know how that is. Now, they came about because Pete asked me to do some videoing, because he knew I made videos on here, and I'd been doing sort of the announcing, MC, comparing duties, whatever you want to call it, with other people for the past about 5 years now, I think it is. So we were talking, you know, doing all this thing, talking it through, getting these ideas together, and we realised that we came up with a name, we came up with a poster, we sort of got the ideas for that, got some help from other people's. Pete's contact list is absolutely amazing. From the sort of 10 years of getting Beatles Day together, as you can imagine, you put out quite a considerable number of names. Yes, I know people in the town, but nowhere as many as this guy does, believe me. So he's very well respected in that one. Plus, when people see his name, go, oh no, what does he want now? What is he organising now? Because he just can't seem to stop himself. Once again, that's probably a different topic for another time. We realised that after getting a venue as well, we were going to go for a smaller venue very close to where I live actually, and a venue that that has been revamped, but was a venue that the Beatles Day took place at some years ago, when it was sort of gradually building in size, because that's got bigger and bigger and bigger. We went down there and had a look at it, and it didn't really fit what we wanted. It wasn't, let's say, a rock and roll venue, but there were certain things, aspects of it, without going into detail, that just didn't fit really with what we wanted to do. Pete just happened to go into the local theatre where we've been holding Beatles Day for the last 3 years, and this is the big theatre. It holds over 1,000 people, and it's the biggest theatre in the town as far as I'm aware. But a great location, centrally located, etc., opposite the pier and all this sort of type of thing. So it's easy to get to. It's good size. We know the people there. We work well with the people backstage, etc. as well. We know how it works there as well, and we've got a pretty good rapport with the people that run the place, as I said. So he just happened to go in there talking about Beatles Day, and he was offered the venue, so we went for that. And of course, this then puts a different slant on things, because you're not talking about a fairly small, low-key event. You're talking about something that's pretty prestigious, something that's a lot bigger, as I said, the biggest sort of venue in the town, should we say, a theatre. You've got to get enough people in there. There's that added pressure that comes from that. You've also got to go and put on a good show, etc. And you've got to, arrange the people and all this to make something that looks good. It's got to be a show rather than just an event, if that makes any sense at all. So we realised that we needed to get some other people involved. Now, new people from the Beatles Day Committee, so we got people involved with that. The first meeting we had of that sort of committee, I was absolutely blown away by the detail that has to be taken account of for something like this to go on. Even if it was a fairly low-key event, there'd be a lot of this detail that would need to be done. But because of where it was and because of the nature of the venue, it takes on another level of involvement, should we say, another level of teamwork, of planning, of minute details about just about everything. And I came back and remember saying to my wife, wow, this is really sort of taken me by surprise. Not in a nasty way, but it just makes you realise just how much organisation and planning goes into something, one of these events. You just turn up on the day, and we've all been there, we've been to these things. You turn up, you pay your money, you go in, you see your bands, you turn around, you have a couple of drinks, and you go home again, don't you? And you might think, yeah, it's a great show, really enjoy it. But you don't really think about what goes on behind the scenes. You never think about the planning that goes on beforehand, or even what goes afterwards. The sort of wind down meetings, the sort of you get there and the good and the bad and all those sort of things that have happened, and you have to think about these things potentially for next year and anything that you want to learn the lessons of, I suppose. As I said, I've been involved with things before, maybe on a different scale. With the radio station Hastings Rock that I'm involved with, one of the things about that is that's a month-long or 28-day event. Yes, it takes a fair amount of planning to get it on the air, but that whole event lasts for 28 days. So there are things that you can change throughout that time. If you do get something slightly wrong or something doesn't work quite well, you've got the opportunity to change it. You've got the opportunity to mend something and change something and alter something for the future, so that certainly by the time you get to the end of the month, you're going to be running very, very smoothly. Yes, you want it to happen on day one as well, but it's not always possible. An event like this, when you open the doors at 2:30 and when you want to start the event at 3 o'clock, it's got to be there. It's got to be running. It's got to be doing it well, because you've only got 7.5 hours, because you ran to 10:30. You've only got 7.5 hours to get it right. You've only got one day, one chance to get it right. That, once again, brings its own sort of pressures. So over the last sort of 3 months, that's been on and off, but sort of bouts of frantic activity with these other people. And some of these other people involved in this committee are mind-blowing, and some of the various ages, generally older people, but who have got a great history, I suppose, of working with events like this, and with hospices and charity events as well. Some of these people do one hell of a lot of charity work, and once again, I've got great admiration for these people who seem to spend most of their free time, I suppose, involved with charity events. It makes you think about these things. I've been involved in lots of different charity things like that as well, but once again, never to this involvement. And you don't realise that, and I have made this point before, but in a slightly different way, is that it tends to be the same sort of people that are involved. And even talking about people, someone would bring up someone's name. Oh yeah, they're involved with this. Oh yes, they're involved with that as well. And once again, it's the same sort of names that keep being drawn out, the same names in the phone book that send to them. Oh, we'll go to them because they know them, they know them. So anyway, so we had to think about posters, about putting posters up, and we went driving around the local towns. Other people went to go into all the shops, and it's quite good. You might even go, I don't know where you live, but what it's like, you see people promoting events in with posters in shop windows and things like this, or in pubs, clubs, bars, whatever it might be. You go in there, and they're not very keen on, maybe some people will take a point, yeah, great, we'll put it up in the window. Other people, no, we don't really want to. But with this, as soon as you mention something like the hospice, the local hospice, which they know about, oh, if it's for them, we'll take it. You don't really have to sell it in that respect. You still have to get people through the door on the day, but you have to do your bit, to get all the publicity out there. We sort of got in touch with local papers. We've got people taking photographs for us to put in the local newspapers, to build a story, I suppose. You have to build stories, getting in touch with a big charity running event, and the Race for Life, as it's called over here, which is all in aid of cancer research, that happened to be going on the same day yesterday that we did the Smooth Sunday event as well. So we tied in with them. Maybe it was fortuitous. When we found out it was on the same day, at first you think, oh no, do we really want to do it? And I said, well, no. And myself and the couple said, well, no, actually we can use this. Let's say use it to our advantage, but we can tie it in. This is a cancer charity. We're doing it for effectively a cancer charity as well. Mould the two together, bring the two together, and try and cross pollination, so we can get people to go to them, they can get people to come to us. A bit of a tie-up on those sort of reciprocal arrangements. And we went down there, and some people took banners down there to help out. People were handing out things. They did an announcement from the stage for us, which I know because my wife happened to be in the race herself. So tie-ins like that, and all these little things, getting the publicity right, the posters, so putting the posters out there, even little details like on the seafront at Hastings, which you might have seen in my videos. We've got lots of billboards on the seafront, an excellent place. People go along the promenade, walking up and down, don't they? And they've got these little billboards that the council put notices on. If you go, you can't just go fly posting and put them on yourself, because they just get taken off and you'd probably be prosecuted. You just have to get someone to put them on. Now, Pete's dealt with these people before, and the young lady who does it, Pete gets in contact with her, thanks her for doing it last time, and by all accounts, he's the only person who's ever thanked her for doing that, which I find strange actually, but may come to that point again later on. So we talked to her, and she quite happily put all these posters up for us. Now, that's the benefit of good relations with people. A lot of people could learn from that, I think. Keep people sweet, if you want to call it that. Just follow it up. Just say thank you for something that they've done for you. It might only have to be a text, a quick phone call or something, but that's enough. Make a difference, and you'll be amazed how people feel about that. Like the girl said, you're the first person who's ever done that. That's quite a good thing, I think. So she's far more likely to do it for you. I know it's not the only reason you're doing it, but it's a bit of networking and all that side of thing. But so much planning. So comes the big day. And the first thing I get yesterday morning is a text from Pete, and I thought, I'm not sure about this. I've got a funny feeling this isn't going to be good news. And it wasn't good news, sort of very bad news actually. We found out that unfortunately one of the local musicians who was due to take part in the event, but also a very well respected local musician who's been around for decades really in the town, very well known, suddenly died on the Saturday night, literally a few hours before our event. So that was a sharp intake of breath like that. It's not a person that I knew very well myself, but I knew that Pete did, and a lot of other people did. And when we got there on the day and the musicians started to arrive, you could see there was they obviously knew. It's sort of not the event, not for six, but it certainly created a certain amount of atmosphere. And then you've got that added problem of what do you do? What do you say? Do you recognise this? Do you say anything from the stage about it? Or all those little variables that come in with that. And talking to one of the guys, one of the drummers who was there the whole day, one of the main sort of musicians who was there, was a great friend and probably the best friend that was there. So we were going through him and trying to, whether he wanted to say something, because obviously the person's set that they had, their little slot of 20 minutes, had to be abandoned. Obviously there was people that weren't there, and a couple of other people did pull out, quite understandably, because of their relationship with the person who died as well. So it's one of those sort of thinking on your feet times. You get there, you put these things on, and you're there for 10, 11, sort of 12 hours, basically on your feet all the time, working your way through this. I don't mind that. I'm not complaining at all. I thoroughly enjoy this, and it's great fun, and I wouldn't do it if I didn't enjoy it. But there's I suppose you're working on adrenaline and water, and not one drop of alcohol touches your mouth for the whole day, although it could do. But I just kept thinking maybe I should go and have a beer, but never got around to it. But once again, a great event. Yes, with the Beatles Day we are spoiled, because we get at least 1,000 people in there. This year we made £14,000, because it is a well-established event. It's been going for 10 years. People know what they're getting. They know what to expect. They've got used to the venue, and that this is a brand new venue. And another point was that it was one of the best days of the year yesterday. It was a lovely sunny day, and that always discourages people. We had plenty of people there. We made approximately £3,000, and you can think of that as maybe a bit disappointing when you look at it in Beatles Day figures. But talking to one of the girls' main fundraiser people from the hospice themselves, I said, how do you feel about this? I had a little chat with her when I had time. How do you feel? About 3,000. She said, this for us, raising £3,000 in one day is unheard of. We're very happy, and you can't argue with that type of thing. I know for a fact that all the musicians who were there loved it. The crowd that I spoke to, people in the crowd, etc., loved the day, and that's all that matters. People go away, they have fun. That was part of the idea of the whole day, was having fun, enjoying yourself, raising money, and raising awareness as well, because it's not just the money raising that's the big thing. It's the same with the Hastings Rock event. We do that for Macmillan Cancer Support, and it's one of the things that they like about that is that we're raising awareness of the charity and of the works and the events that the charities put on and what they actually do for the community, the same as the hospice. You're raising awareness for that by doing your stuff from the stage and making announcements, telling people about sort of certain aspects of it. That can last a lot longer than the actual money that you raise as well, because that stays in the memory. They run a lottery, which I've been involved with and promoted heavily yesterday, which is an ongoing thing, and it helps to raise £300,000 for that hospice over every single year, and that's brilliant. If you get people involved in that, and I've been doing this for 11 years myself, £8 a month for 11 years, that's a lot of money. I'm quite happy to pay that. You're doing a little bit for the hospice, and you may well, it's a cash prize, the highest prize every week I think is £2,000. You've got a chance of winning that. I've only ever won £5 here, but obviously people do win. But I understand that several people actually joined up for the lottery or asked about the lottery yesterday, and that money will last longer than that £3,000 we raised yesterday. So I think that's a good thing. The awareness is just as good. So there you go, that's what happened. One of the things I will say, I was talking earlier on about people thanking people. We were talking to one of the guys who we got a relationship with at the actual theatre themselves, one of the guys who helps out backstage and at the side of the stage, and I've built up a rapport over the past 3 years, and I know Peter and a couple of the other guys have as well. And he was saying about an event that had been on the day before, the night before, which was like a classical type of concert, and he said nobody there approached him, nobody said thank you, and we're up there chatting to him all day long, and having a good laugh with him, thanking him for doing this right the way throughout the day. And I know that pays dividends. As I said, once again, you're not doing it for those purposes. We're doing it because we're on the same side. We want to put on a good event, they want to put on a good event, they want to do their best, we want to do our best as well. And the best way to do that is through a bit of teamwork. This whole event was put together by teamwork, and it's also the teamwork of the people that you have to meet along the way, not just the people that were involved in your event, but the people that you meet up with, whether it be the girl who puts the posters up, whether it be the guy who designs the posters, the people who print the posters, the people at the theatre itself, either before the event or on the day as well. You have to build up that rapport, and it doesn't take much to do that. A little bit of sort of civility goes a long way. So there we are. A great event, and also quite interesting for me, meeting a couple of people and chatting with the musicians. It's one thing that I've learned, although I was a musician years and years ago, not to the level that these people are that I deal with, the people that we have. And once again, if you've seen the Beatles Day videos, you know exactly what I'm talking about, the level of musicianship, the quality of the musicianship that we've got in our local area. And we had a guy come down, anybody who, the sort of music we were playing, the sort of 60s, 50s type of music, and lots of stuff from like Frank Sinatra, Dean Martin era. And there was a singer in those days called Matt Monro. If anybody remembers him, apparently he sold 100 million records, a British artist. Well, his son was there doing one of it. He drove all the way down from Liverpool, which is 200, 300 miles away from Hastings, and he came all the way down there to do this particular concert for us, to be on stage effectively for 3/4 of an hour. He does an act which is obviously in recognition, in praise, in memory of his father, and a great act it was too. But talking to him, I had quite a chat with him, smashing bloke, and we had a chat with talking to him, and he was saying that he was impressed by the event. He was certainly impressed by some of the musicians, and he was just quite happy to come down and support something like that as well. And that just shows you what people will do. Everybody at these events gives their time for nothing, whether it be the people, the staff at the theatre as well. We did have to give them some money, but not very much, nothing like we would normally have to give them, because it's double time on a Sunday type of thing. And everybody else giving their time, the people printing posters for us for nothing, the people putting up things for nothing, the people printing the programmes for nothing, all of those type of things. People are only too happy to help, but you do have to ask sometimes. So once again, there's that bit of networking that goes on, that good faith that you've built up over the years with Pete with the Beatles Day. Hopefully we can take this forward. Maybe we'll do something again. I know Pete's already talking about either doing this event again, or maybe talking to him the other day about another event that we could do. I think it's great that we can do this. It's great that we can do this in this particular town, because there aren't many places, I don't think, that put events on like this. I talk to people on here, I know, talking to people on YouTube about the Beatles Day, etc., and they're very envious, they're jealous of the fact that we've got an event like that takes place every year and is such a good event. Not a lot of other places have got that. Maybe they haven't got the people who want to put them on, or want to give the time to put them on, or the effort that they want to put in. I don't believe that somehow. Maybe they don't feel that they've got the talent in the area that are willing to do it as well. Because all these people, all these musicians, we had 3 months to do this pretty frantic activity. We didn't actually get in touch with the musicians, it certainly wasn't the beginning, a month and a half ago, and trying to work out all the songs. This is different. This isn't the Beatles sort of stuff where everybody knows it and they've done it before, so they not say play the same songs, but they've got a pretty good idea. This was something that was out of some people's comfort zone, the type of music that we were after this time. So that took a lot of work. People were getting together, putting the songs on, rehearsing the songs, and then to being there on the day and doing it for nothing as well. But they're only too happy to do it because it's for a good cause. Everybody said, even yesterday when we were talking about the death of the musician, you know, and people were saying, no, I didn't really feel like coming today, quite understandably because of what had gone on before. But they said, no, he'd have wanted it this way anyway. That's one particular thing. So the whole event was done in the memory of this particular musician, Dave, who died on the Saturday. But they also felt that we were doing it for a good cause, and that was worthwhile getting out there and doing it. So there you go. I'm going to talk for a long time. I knew this would be a long vlog, but it's partly a personal thing for me to getting out there what I've been doing, but maybe trying to inspire other people to get involved with things that go on in their local community. It is the same pool of people that do it. I'm involved with lots of different things as well, but so could you be. It doesn't take much to just, you have to put on the event yourself. You could get involved with other ones, which is what I've done in some ways. I've got involved, come in from the side, and I've got more and more involved with things, I suppose, and I've got more experience on these things, and then that happens that people ask you to do this, they ask you to do that. And you know what I'm like, I tend to say yes to these things because it opens doors, it creates different avenues, and you never know what's going to come out of it. Meeting all these people, meeting some of these great musicians and building up a relationship and rapport with them, seeing them working close at hand from the side of the stage and that type of thing, that is great. I consider that to be a privilege, getting to know these people and seeing the way that they work, and feeling that I can sort of call myself a friend to some of these sort of people. So there you go. Who knows what the future might hold? There might be other events that take place. There might be another Smooth Sunday next year. I'm sure there'll be a Beatles Day next year, and I should be involved with that. So now it's your turn. Maybe you can go out and do that. And if you do, or if you are involved in something like this, please let me know. Let me know your experiences as well, what you get out of it, what you like putting into it, you know, why you do it in the first place. I do it because I enjoy it. Apart from the fact that it raises awareness, it raises money. If you can do that as well as enjoying yourself, what can be better? Anyway, I'm definitely going to leave it there. I shall speak to you again soon. Goodbye.